Poor girl sits at the wrong table on a blind date only to discover he's a millionaire who falls for her. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us return to our main character. The soft hum of conversations and the clinking of silverware filled the elegant New York City restaurant. Warm light poured over every table, reflecting from polished glasses and white porcelain plates that looked more like pieces of art than dishes. Every guest seemed perfectly composed, dressed in quiet luxury, but at the entrance, one woman hesitated. Emma Brooks stood clutching her small purse, heart thudding against her ribs. Her reflection in the glass door showed a nervous young woman in a second-hand dress, her shoes slightly scuffed, her lipstick already fading. She took a deep breath and whispered to herself, "Come on, Emma, you promised Jenny you would not bail this time." Her best friend had set her up on a blind date, insisting that this time might be different. Emma was not sure. She waited tables at a small cafe downtown and spent her nights sketching city lights in an old notebook she could not afford to replace. Dating, especially in a place like this, felt like stepping into someone else's world. "Table 7, she murmured, scanning the room. Candlelight flickered off glassware, and the low jazz playing in the background only made her pulse race faster. Then she saw him, a man sitting alone near the back, dark hair neatly styled, suit perfectly fitted, attention fixed on his phone. That must be Kevin, she thought. Jenny had said he was quiet, serious, maybe a little shy. Emma straightened her shoulders, walked over, and forced a bright smile. "Hi, you must be Kevin. I am Emma. It is so nice to finally meet you." The man looked up, slightly startled. For a moment, he just stared, unsure what to say. Liam Parker had come here for a business meeting that had just been canceled. He had no idea who this woman was, but something about her warmth, her open smile, made him pause. He could have corrected her right then, but instead, he found himself saying softly, "Hi Emma, nice to meet you too." Emma sat down, her hands fidgeting in her lap. "Blind dates are so weird, right? Jenny told me you might not talk much, so do not worry, I can talk enough for both of us." She laughed nervously. Liam's lips curved into a faint smile. Blind dates are something else, that is for sure. As they talked, the nervousness in Emma's voice started to fade. She spoke about her job at the cafe, about barely making rent, about her dream of opening her own art studio someday. Liam listened quietly, fascinated by her honesty. No pretense, no small talk meant to impress. When she asked what he did, he hesitated. "I work in tech," he said simply. "Like coding and apps and that kind of stuff?" she asked, eyes lighting up with curiosity. "That is so cool. I can barely handle my phone without breaking it." Liam chuckled softly, something like that. For a brief moment, they both forgot the world around them. The restaurant noise melted into the background. It was just two strangers talking like old friends. She made him laugh, something he had not done genuinely in a long time. Emma tilted her head, studying him. "You are not what I expected. Jenny said you were reserved, but you are actually really easy to talk to." He smiled. "You are easy to talk to, too." Her phone buzzed then. She glanced down, her smile fading. "Hey Emma, I'm at table 7. Looking forward to meeting you, Kevin." Her heart froze. Slowly, she looked up at the man across from her, color draining from her cheeks. "You are not Kevin, are you?" Liam's eyes softened, guilt flickering across his face. "No," he admitted quietly. Emma's mouth fell open. "Oh my God, I am so sorry. I sat at the wrong table." She jumped to her feet, grabbing her purse. "This is so embarrassing." "Wait," Liam said quickly, standing too. "Emma, it is really okay. You do not have to." But she was already halfway to the door, her face flushed with humiliation. The hostess turned to look as she hurried past, and the jazz music seemed to mock her retreat. Liam watched her go, an unfamiliar ache settling in his chest. He had meant to tell her the truth from the start. He had never expected to feel disappointed when she left. That night, back in his high-rise apartment overlooking the glittering skyline, Liam stood by the window, remembering her laughter, her honesty, the way she had talked about art as if it were hope itself. He had met thousands of people, business partners, investors, socialites, but none had felt as real as the woman who accidentally sat at his table. He could still hear her voice. Blind dates are weird, right? And for the first time in years, the billionaire who had everything felt something he could not buy: curiosity, maybe even longing for the girl who had simply made a mistake. The next morning, the city woke under a pale gray sky. Emma dragged herself through another shift at the cafe, the smell of burnt espresso and sugar clinging to her clothes. Every clink of a coffee cup reminded her of the night before. She kept replaying it in her head, his calm eyes, his soft laugh, the way he said her name before she bolted out the door. It was humiliating. Jenny leaned against the counter, grinning as she watched Emma wipe the same table twice. "You are still thinking about that wrong table disaster, huh?" Emma groaned. "Do not remind me. I made a complete fool of myself." Jenny raised an eyebrow. "Maybe, but you said he was nice. Maybe fate just got the table number wrong." Emma shook her head. "Please, I doubt I will ever see him again. Guys like that do not hang out in places like this." But fate, it seemed, was not done with her. That afternoon, a man in a dark coat stepped inside, the chill of the wind following him. When he looked up, their eyes met. For a second, neither spoke. Liam Parker stood at the counter, holding a takeaway menu, pretending to study it. Emma's heart leapt, then dropped. "Oh no," she whispered. Jenny caught the look and nearly squealed. "That is him, is it not? Please, act normal," Emma hissed, but her voice trembled. Liam approached the counter with a polite smile. "Medium latte, please. To go." Emma tried to look composed as she took his order, coming right up. Their fingers brushed when she handed him the cup. She could feel her pulse in her throat. "You work here?" he asked softly. "Yes," she replied, keeping her eyes on the register. "I make coffee, not blind dates." Liam smiled, amused. "Fair enough. For what it is worth, I enjoyed our accidental dinner." She blinked, surprised by his sincerity. "You did?" "I did," he said simply. "You were honest. That is rare." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small wrapped package. "You left this behind last night." Emma frowned, taking it carefully. Inside was her sketchbook, edges still worn from years of use. She had forgotten it on the restaurant chair when she ran out. Her voice softened. "You kept it?" "I thought it might mean something to you," Liam said. Emma opened the cover and found a note written in his neat handwriting. "Keep creating. The world needs more of what you see." For a moment, she forgot to breathe. "Thank you," she murmured. Liam nodded once, then turned to leave. "Maybe I will see you around, Emma." She watched him go, the bell above the door jingling softly. Jenny appeared beside her, whispering, "Girl, that was not just coffee, that was chemistry." Kumzang. Emma smiled shyly, flipping open her sketchbook again. There was a new drawing tucked inside her own sketch from that night at the restaurant, carefully traced and outlined by a different hand. He must have done it. She traced the lines with her fingers, realizing that maybe, just maybe, some mistakes were meant to happen. That evening, Liam sat in his office, the glow of the skyline spilling across the glass walls. His assistant, Claire, noticed the distant look on his face. "You seem distracted, sir," she said gently. Liam smiled faintly. "I met someone by accident." Claire raised a brow. "Another investor?" He shook his head. "No, someone real." She smiled knowingly. "Those are hard to find." As night deepened over Manhattan, Emma sat by her apartment window, sketchbook in her lap, eyes tracing the city lights below. Somewhere out there, the man she had mistaken for a blind date was probably attending a meeting, talking about numbers and shares she could not even imagine. And yet, for reasons she could not explain, she felt closer to him than to anyone she had met before. She closed her eyes, hearing again his quiet voice. "Keep creating." Emma picked up her pencil, turned to a fresh page, and began to draw. The street below shimmered in the rain, a soft blur of gold and gray, and in the middle of it, she sketched a man sitting at a cafe window, smiling. She whispered to herself. Maybe fate did not get it wrong after all. Days turned into weeks, and the strange connection between Emma and Liam quietly grew. He began stopping by the cafe more often, always at the same hour, ordering the same latte, sometimes staying to talk while she cleaned tables. He never mentioned his real work, and she never asked. For Emma, he was just Liam, the kind, calm man who listened when no one else did. One rainy afternoon, the sky above Manhattan was heavy with clouds. The cafe was nearly empty when Liam appeared again, his coat damp from the drizzle. "Busy day?" he asked, brushing raindrops from his sleeves. Emma laughed softly. "If by busy you mean making coffee for 2 tourists and a man who only tipped in dimes, then yes, very busy." "Got 5, Liam chuckled and took a seat by the window. "You always find a way to make everything sound better than it is." "I just have to," she said, wiping the counter. "Otherwise, life would feel too heavy." He studied her for a moment, the flicker of admiration in his eyes impossible to hide. "Would you have dinner with me? No mistakes this time. No mix-ups." Emma froze, the rag still in her hand. "Dinner? Like an actual date?" "Yes," he said, smiling gently. "You can even pick the table number." Her laugh escaped before she could stop it. "All right, but do not blame me if it ends up being table 7 again." That evening, they met at a small Italian restaurant near the river. No fancy chandeliers, no gold accents, just soft music, candlelight, and the smell of fresh bread. Emma arrived in a simple navy dress, hair tied loosely, cheeks flushed with nervous color. Liam stood when she entered. For a man who owned skyscrapers and companies, he looked disarmingly human. "You look beautiful," he said. She blushed. "You clean up pretty well yourself." The dinner was easy, full of laughter and stolen glances. She told him stories about her customers, about the old man who left poems on napkins, about the little girl who drew hearts on coffee cups. Liam listened like every word mattered. When she asked again about his job, he hesitated but kept his tone light. "Still tech. Still figuring things out." "Then we have that in common," she said. "We are both figuring things out." After dinner, they walked along the riverside. The air smelled of rain and pavement, and the city lights shimmered on the water like stars. Emma stopped at a railing, leaning forward. "You know," she said softly, "I used to come here after my shifts. I would sit for hours, drawing the skyline. It made me feel small, but in a good way, like the world was still bigger than my problems." Quote, Liam stood beside her, the wind tugging gently at his coat. "You have a way of seeing beauty in everything, Emma." She turned to him, surprised by the sincerity in his voice. "You say that like it is rare." "It is," he replied quietly. "Most people stop looking after they have everything they thought they wanted." Something in his tone carried a weight she could not quite name. She wanted to ask more, but he looked away, hands resting on the cold metal railing. "Maybe one day I will tell you what I mean." They walked back in silence, but it was a comfortable silence, the kind that did not need to be filled. When he dropped her off at her building, he hesitated before saying goodnight. "Thank you for tonight," Emma said softly. "It has been a long time since someone made me laugh like that." "Then I will have to try again," he replied, a small smile tugging at his lips. She smiled back, stepping inside, heart still pounding. From the window upstairs, she watched him walk away into the soft drizzle, his figure fading beneath the streetlights. Over the next few days, she found herself sketching him again, his profile in the cafe light, his smile, the way he looked at the world like he was still searching for something. She told herself it was just inspiration, but deep down she knew better. Liam, meanwhile, could not stop thinking about her. In meetings, his mind drifted back to her laugh, her paint-stained hands, the way she spoke about dreams without irony. For years, his life had been schedules, negotiations, and numbers. But now, for the first time in a long while, he wanted something that could not be calculated. That night, he stood in his penthouse again, the city glittering far below, and whispered to himself, "She thinks I am just a man who works in tech. Maybe that is the only reason she can see me clearly." Quote, in that quiet moment, he realized he would rather be seen as ordinary by Emma than extraordinary by anyone else. A few evenings later, Emma's shift ended just after sunset. She was wiping down the last table when her phone buzzed. It was a message from Liam. "Are you free tonight? I have something I want to show you." Her fingers hesitated over the screen. Part of her wanted to say no this world of his. Quiet confidence and mystery scared her a little, but curiosity won. She typed back, "Where? Just trust me. I will pick you up in 30 minutes." When his car pulled up in front of her apartment building, she almost did not recognize it. It was not one of those shiny black sedans she had seen outside fancy hotels, but a simple, dark gray SUV. Liam stepped out wearing jeans and a navy jacket, his hair wind-tussled, his smile easy. "Ready?" he asked. Emma nodded, sliding into the passenger seat. The city lights blurred past as they drove, the silence between them soft and warm. After a while, she asked, "So where are we going?" "You will see," he said. He took her to the edge of the city, to a quiet neighborhood she had never seen before. The air smelled of rain and grass. When they stopped, she saw a building with high glass windows glowing from the inside. A small art gallery. Emma turned to him wide-eyed. "You brought me to a gallery?" He smiled. "You told me once you love street art and open spaces. I thought you might like this one. It is a local show, independent artists, no big sponsors." Inside, soft music played. Paintings covered the walls, vivid, alive, and unpolished. Emma moved slowly, taking it all in. "These are beautiful," she whispered. "They remind me of you," Liam said quietly behind her. She laughed gently. "Messy and broke?" He smiled. "Real." Quote. They stopped in front of a large canvas of the city skyline reflected on the Hudson River, the lights trembling on the painted water. Emma's voice softened. "I used to draw this exact view. When I could not afford canvas, I would sketch it on napkins." Liam looked at her profile in the gallery light, seeing something fragile and fierce at the same time. "Why did you stop?" She shrugged. "Because real life does not wait for dreams. Rent, groceries, overtime shifts, art became a luxury." Quote. He wanted to tell her he could fix that he had more than enough to make her life easy, but something inside him stopped. He remembered her words. "I like people who see beyond money." So he said instead, "Maybe you just need someone to remind you it is still worth chasing." She turned to him, eyes glimmering. "Maybe," she said softly. They lingered there long after most visitors had left. When they finally stepped outside, the air had turned cold. Liam slipped off his jacket and draped it over her shoulders. The scent of his cologne mixed with the chill night air. "Thank you," she whispered, "for tonight, for remembering what I said." He smiled. "You make it easy to remember." For a moment, the world seemed to pause, the city, the noise, everything. Then her phone buzzed again. Jenny's name flashed across the screen with a string of heart emojis. Emma laughed, embarrassed. "My friend thinks I am on a date." Quote. Liam tilted his head, teasing. "Are you not?" Her eyes met his, a hint of a smile playing at her lips. "Maybe I am." He walked her back to the car, their hands brushing once, twice before she finally let her fingers rest in his. It felt simple, and yet it carried the quiet electricity of something real. When he dropped her off, Emma lingered at the door. "I do not know who you really are, Liam, but whoever you are, thank you for letting me see your world." He held her gaze. "It is not just my world, Emma. It could be ours." She smiled, uncertain but moved. "Good night." After she went inside, Liam remained by the curb for a long time. The reflection of the city lights shimmered on his windshield. For years, he had built everything to impress people who never cared. But tonight, with Emma's laughter still echoing in his head, he realized what he wanted could not be bought or built, it had to be earned. Upstairs, Emma set his jacket on the chair beside her bed. She traced the stitching with her fingertips, remembering how he had looked at her in the gallery like she was not invisible for once. She opened her sketchbook, turned to a blank page, and began to draw again. Outside, the city hummed with life, and somewhere across town, Liam stared at his own reflection in the glass walls of his office, whispering to himself, "Do not mess this up." The following week arrived with crisp autumn air and restless hearts. Emma had never felt this kind of peace before, gentle, quiet, and uncertain all at once. Every evening after work, she would find herself looking out the cafe window, half expecting to see Liam's familiar figure appear in the crowd. And often, he did. Sometimes with coffee, sometimes just to walk her home. One afternoon, Jenny noticed Emma's faraway look and grinned. "You are in love, admit it," she said, waving a spoon at her friend. Emma nearly dropped the milk pitcher. "I am not." "He is just different," Jenny smirked. Different usually means special. Emma laughed, shaking her head, but she could not deny it. Liam was unlike anyone she had ever met. He listened. He remembered small things. He treated her as if she mattered. Yet every time she looked into his eyes, she sensed something hidden, a secret he was not ready to share. That evening, as the city's lights blinked awake, Liam texted her, "Join me for dinner tonight, somewhere new." Quote, when she arrived, she found herself at a rooftop restaurant overlooking the skyline. Strings of soft lights glowed above the tables, and the breeze carried the scent of rain and roses. Liam stood waiting near the edge, his hands tucked in his pockets, that same calm smile on his face. "This place is beautiful," she said. "I thought you might like the view," he replied. "It is one of the few things money cannot ruin." She smiled. "You talk like a philosopher lately." He laughed quietly. "Maybe you bring that out of me." They sat together, sharing a bottle of wine, watching the city shimmer below. Their laughter mingled with the faint hum of jazz from a nearby speaker. Everything felt unreal, like the world had finally decided to give them a moment of stillness. But halfway through dinner, Emma's phone buzzed again. Jenny had sent her a link with the caption, "Wait, is this your Liam?" Emma frowned, opened the link, and froze. It was a news article. Tech visionary Liam Parker announces expansion of Parker Innovations. There was his photo, smiling in a navy suit, shaking hands with city officials. The glass in her hand trembled. "Liam," she whispered, "you said you worked in tech. You did not say you owned it." Liam's smile faded. "Emma, I wanted to tell you, but..." She stood abruptly, the chair scraping the floor. "You lied to me. All this time you let me think you were just someone like me." Quote, "It was not a lie," he said quietly. "I only wanted you to know me before you knew my name." Tears filled her eyes. "You made me feel like I belonged, but I was just part of your experiment. Was that it? Some story to tell at your next meeting?" He shook his head. "No. You are the only thing that has felt real in years." But she was already stepping back, her heart pounding. "Real things do not start with lies, Liam." Christ. Before he could reach her, she turned and walked toward the elevator, the sound of her heels echoing against the marble floor. Liam stood there, frozen, the city lights flickering behind him like 1,000 unspoken apologies. When the elevator doors closed, he whispered into the empty air, "I only wanted you to see me, not my world." Down on the street, Emma stepped into the cool night, tears mixing with the drizzle on her cheeks. For the first time, the city she loved so much felt distant and unfamiliar. The man she thought she knew was a stranger after all. And somewhere high above, Liam watched her disappear into the blur of headlights, feeling the one thing his millions could never protect him from losing her. The night after she walked away, Emma could not sleep. The sound of the rain against her window matched the rhythm of her thoughts, slow, heavy, relentless. She sat at her small kitchen table, sketchbook open but untouched. Her pencil hovered above the page, yet no lines came. The man she thought she knew had vanished, replaced by a stranger with a fortune and a false name. Jenny tried to call, but Emma ignored it. She needed silence. She needed to breathe. The city outside glowed through the mist. The same city that once felt full of dreams now felt too loud, too cruel. Across town, Liam sat alone in his office. The skyline stretched endlessly before him, but he saw nothing. His assistant had left hours ago, and the room was dim except for the glow of the city lights. He replayed her words again and again. "Real things do not start with lies." He whispered into the emptiness. "She is right." The next morning, Emma went to work as usual, trying to move through her routine as if nothing had changed. But when she reached for her sketchbook to take orders, she noticed a folded note tucked inside. It was written in neat, familiar handwriting, I know I hurt you, and I do not expect forgiveness. But I hope you will still chase your dreams. The gallery downtown is hosting an open submission night. You belong there, Emma. Let them see what I see." She frowned, her hands trembling. He must have dropped it off sometime before dawn. That evening, after her shift, she walked past the gallery he had once taken her to. Through the glass, she saw artists setting up canvases, arranging small displays. She almost kept walking, but something inside her whispered that running away would not make the truth disappear. Inside, a curator greeted her warmly. "Submission night, right? Do you have work to show?" Emma hesitated, then slowly pulled out her sketchbook. "Just sketches," she said quietly. The woman flipped through the pages and smiled. "They are raw and beautiful. You should put one up." Quote, with shaking hands, Emma placed one of her drawings on the small display board, the same skyline she had once shown Liam, the one she had stopped finishing after their fight. Now it was complete. Hours later, when the gallery lights dimmed and people drifted out, she stood alone before her piece. The ache in her chest was still there, but softer now. Somewhere across the city, Liam stared at his phone, her number glowing on the screen. He wanted to call, to say everything he had held back, but he stopped. If she ever spoke to him again, it had to be her choice. Emma looked at her reflection in the glass window. For the first time in weeks, she smiled faintly. "Maybe real things can start again," she whispered. And though she did not know it, outside on the quiet street, Liam was standing in the rain watching from a distance, letting her moment belong only to her. 2 weeks passed. The chill of early winter crept into the city, and with it came long nights that made the streets shimmer with pale light. Emma's drawing at the gallery had quietly gained attention. A small art blog featured it under the headline, "Beauty and Honesty, the City Through the Eyes of an Unknown Artist." She read the article 3 times, her chest tight with disbelief. Jenny burst into the cafe waving her phone. "You are famous," she declared, sliding it across the counter. "That is you, right? The skyline piece?" Emma laughed softly, her cheeks warm. "Barely famous, but maybe it is a start." Still, every night when the lights dimmed and the customers were gone, she caught herself thinking of Liam. Not the millionaire, not the CEO, but the man who had walked with her by the river, who had remembered her words, who had believed in her art. She missed him, even though she tried not to admit it. Meanwhile, across the city, Liam's world kept turning: meetings, investors, headlines, but nothing felt the same. Every achievement tasted hollow. His assistant, Claire, noticed the exhaustion in his eyes. "You have been distracted lately," she said carefully. "If this is about her, maybe you should stop pretending work can fix it." He gave a tired smile. "Work is the only thing I know how to fix." Claire placed a folded newspaper on his desk. "Then start with this." On the front page of the arts section was Emma's drawing, the same skyline, the same reflection on the river, now framed in gold light. The article quoted her words from the gallery interview. "Art saved me from silence. Sometimes mistakes are just directions we did not know we needed." Liam's throat tightened. He traced the printed image with his thumb and whispered, "She is still painting." That evening, he left his office without a word. Rain drizzled over the city as he drove, the wipers brushing rhythmically across the windshield. He parked near the small cafe and waited, unsure if he should go in. When Emma finally stepped out, holding her umbrella and a bag of sketch supplies, he froze. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then she noticed him through the mist. Her breath caught. "Liam?" He stepped closer, his voice low. "I did not come to ask for anything. I just wanted to see you, to see that you are okay." Quote, "I am fine," she said softly. "Better, maybe," he nodded. "You are doing amazing. I saw your article." Emma looked down, smiling faintly. "It was just a small piece." "No," he said gently. "It was everything." There was a pause between them, filled with the sound of rain and city traffic. Finally, Emma spoke. "Why did you come tonight?" "Because I cannot pretend anymore," Liam said. "You were right. I lied about who I was, but I never lied about what I felt." You made me want to be honest, even if it cost me everything." Her eyes softened, torn between anger and the fragile hope that refused to die. "I do not know if I can trust you again." "I know," he said quietly. "That is why I am not asking you to. Not yet. I just want you to know that I am still here." Emma looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded once, her voice barely above a whisper. "Then start by keeping that promise." "Gakai." Liam smiled through the rain, relief flickering in his eyes. "I will." She turned to leave, but just before stepping into the street, she glanced back. "Good night, Liam." "Good night, Emma," he replied, his voice steady, filled with something that sounded like faith. As she disappeared into the mist, Liam exhaled slowly. It was not forgiveness, not yet, but it was the first step toward something real. Days turned into another week, and the city prepared for its winter gala season. Posters for charity events and art exhibitions filled the streets. One evening, as Emma closed up the cafe, an envelope slid under the door. It was heavy paper, embossed with gold lettering. Parker Foundation, Annual Charity Gala, honoring local artists. Her heart skipped. At the bottom, her name was printed neatly. Featured guest, Emma Brooks. She froze in disbelief. How could this be? She had not applied for anything. The invitation came with a small handwritten note. "Your art deserves to be seen. Whether you come or not, know that the world already sees you. L." For hours, she stared at the card, torn between fear and curiosity. In the end, she decided to go not for him, but for herself. The night of the gala arrived cold and clear. Emma borrowed a simple black dress from Jenny and twisted her hair into a loose bun. When she entered the grand hall, she felt out of place among the glittering gowns and tuxedos. Chandeliers cast warm light across the marble floor, and a live orchestra played softly. Her breath caught when she saw the walls lined with artwork. Among them, framed in gold, was her skyline painting, the one Liam had encouraged her to finish. A small plaque read, "Donated by the Parker Foundation to support emerging artists." Before she could move, a familiar voice spoke behind her. "It looks even more beautiful here." Emma turned slowly. Liam stood there in a dark suit, his expression calm but hopeful. "You did this," she said quietly. "Why?" "Because your art deserves more than a cafe wall," he replied. "And because I needed to make things right." She shook her head, emotion rising in her throat. "You cannot buy forgiveness, Liam." "I know," he said softly, "but maybe I can earn your trust back, one truth at a time." He stepped closer, careful not to crowd her. "Every piece sold tonight will fund scholarships for young artists. It was your idea, even if you never knew it." Emma blinked, realizing he had turned her words into action. "You remembered." "I remember everything you say," he answered. Silence hung between them for a moment, filled with the soft music and hum of conversation. Then Emma's voice trembled. "You hurt me, Liam, but you also saw me when no one else did. I do not know what that means yet." He nodded, his eyes gentle. "It means I will wait for as long as it takes." The orchestra swelled, and someone called Liam's name from the stage. He glanced toward the crowd, then back at her. "Stay until the end, please." Emma hesitated, then gave a small nod. "All right." As he walked away, applause echoed through the hall. Emma looked again at her painting glowing under the light, her signature shining clearly at the corner. For the first time, she felt not like a mistake in someone else's story, but like the artist of her own. The music quieted, and the host took the stage. Tonight, the Parker Foundation would like to honor an artist whose work reminds us that beauty often begins in the smallest acts of courage. Please welcome Emma Brooks. Emma froze, the sound of her name echoing across the hall. Jenny, standing near the back, waved wildly for her to go. Slowly, Emma made her way to the stage, her hands trembling as applause filled the room. Under the bright lights, she saw Liam at the edge of the crowd, watching her not as the CEO everyone else saw, but as the man who had once listened to her dreams in a tiny cafe. The microphone felt heavy in her hands. She took a slow breath. "I never thought I would stand here. I used to believe art was something reserved for people with money or influence. But someone once told me that the world needs to see what I see. So I drew. I kept drawing, even when I had nothing. Her eyes met Liam's. This painting is not just mine. It belongs to everyone who ever felt invisible and decided to be seen anyway. The room erupted in applause again. When she stepped down from the stage, Liam was waiting. He did not speak at first, just looked at her with quiet pride. "You were incredible," he said softly. Emma smiled through the emotion rising in her chest. "You kept your promise," he nodded. "And I will keep the rest of them if you let me." She looked at him for a long moment, the noise of the gala fading behind them. "No more secrets, Liam. If we start again, it has to be honest." He reached for her hand gently. "No more lies, just us." Quote. The lights dimmed. The orchestra began to play again. And for the first time since that night at the wrong table, Emma did not feel like she was pretending. She leaned her head against his shoulder, whispering, "Maybe the best mistakes are the ones that lead us home." Liam smiled, his hand tightening around hers. "Then this was the best mistake I have ever made." Quote. Outside, snow began to fall over the city, soft and quiet, painting the skyline she once drew by heart proof that even from the simplest error, something extraordinary can begin.